Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about yet more undisclosed largesse from billionaire Harlan Crow to Justice Clarence Thomas. All right, at this point, you might think, more of the same. Who really cares? The reason, though, that this is a story is the wanton, and it seems to me almost certainly knowing, failure not to disclose. So only kind of at the equivalent of gunpoint, Thomas and Crow disclosed a whole series of trips, and we're talking about really high-end luxury trips on yachts and private jets and the like. And all transportation has to be disclosed and it has to be evaluated, and you can only begin to, it's sort of eye-popping for any normal folks like you and me who travel on commercial air jets. Private jet travel is valued very highly. All right, but you would have thought it must have been, I will go even farther, that when the whole sort of scandal, which has been a rolling scandal developing over years, that Thomas would have sat down and figured out all the trips that he took with Crow on, first class, utter luxury travel. And, it ain't that hard. This, even for a man living a luxury life at the funding of a billionaire, you look in your calendar or you take 2 trips a year, you know what they are. You know that went from, in this case, New Zealand to Hawaii. It's just not tenable to suggest, oops, I forgot. Now, so these things came after, and it just looks as if the most likely hypothesis seems to be, well, you thought he could get away with it because it's discovered by Senator Ron Wyden, who's written a letter now to Thomas. First, there's apparently some possibility of Crow's having used it improperly to lower his own taxes. But the point with Thomas is it comes about, they learn it through discovery of like air traffic control records and the like. And Thomas, might have thought that I don't know what excuse Thomas would proffer. He says he's very, of course, laconic at these things and a little bit outraged, but he hasn't given anything at all persuasive, and what he's done, in fact, is very grudging. Here's what he's done about these trials in the past. He has said that they come under a personal hospitality exemption within ethics guidelines. Now, of course, it's the Supreme Court, as we know all too well. The justices interpret it for themselves, and he could have said, and maybe was the case, I just decided not to do it, go pound sand. But he wanted to assert that he's been compliant. So what he said is, first, Harlan and Kathy Crow are among our dearest friends. And as friends do, we have joined them on a number of family trips. Early in my tenure at the court, I sought guidance from my colleagues and others in the judiciary. Yeah, like who were these colleagues and who were the others? Because I was advised that this sort of personal hospitality from close personal friends was not reportable. Well, guess what? That is a misconstruction of the personal hospitality rules. The personal hospitality rules say you can go to the guy's house and vacation there, including his mansion on the beachfront. That's his actual thing. He can invite you over. You still may have to report it or the value of any transportation. But it's got to be, rules and laws matter. You can see why this is not just a technical requirement. It's got to be the guy's stuff. If the guy has a mansion and he wants you in the West Wing or East Wing of it, that's not really, it's a different kind of thing. I got the house, come on over, hang out, who cares? And, you can spring for the ribs on the barbecue. But Harlan Crow, almost certainly, they'll be finding that out, doesn't own it yet. People do not own, even billionaires do not own private jets. They lease them. They belong to another company, and you pay a certain amount, and you pay more if you're taking a trip with your dear friends, the Thomases, from New Zealand to Hawaii and all these various places. So it's bogus, and by then he knew it or should have known it. And even if it weren't, it would be necessary under the rules to report any transportation, personal hospitality or not. Guy pulls up in his private jet, let's go for a ride. That would be something that has to go in. So Thomas's explanation already stank, but here there's this extra level of why are more trips coming out? I want to take a step back and say some of the charges on ethics have seemed picayune or, at least the, worthy of investigation, but not certainly a smoking gun. But what's really bad here, it seems to me, and deserves to be the story that it is, even though to everyone's frustration, there will be no consequences to Thomas, is, he's concealing things. He's just got to be. About when you sit down and you look in your diary, oh, yeah, remember, Ginny, that trip from New Zealand to Hawaii on Harlan Crow's private jet? That's not something that just slipped your mind, like, remember when we went over to his house for the weekend. And that's coming out now after everything and all the trips that were supposed to have been, he was supposed to have played an open hand on, even if he was still saying, oh, I thought it was okay, but he didn't, but he still was saying, here's everything I've got. And that two more of luxury trips that are just, not something you do casually and slip your mind, strikes me as really having a very bad odor about them. And it's partly the underlying acceptance of this largesse, but at this point, Clarence Thomas, oops, two more that weren't in there. That really stinks. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.